Hi, Tim Blankenship with Divorce661.com. Today we're answering the question, what are examples of alimony payments? And this is coming directly from the Franchise Tax Board. I found an interesting publication they put out where they answered maybe 12 questions. It was hard for me to find, so I wanted to get this out on video because it talks about alimony and spousal support in California from a tax perspective. So in this particular case, they wanted to describe what other examples of alimony payments might be, because a typical alimony or spousal support payment is one party paying money, so cash, writing a check, transferring of money from one party to the other. This, they're saying, you don't necessarily have to have a cash transfer. It doesn't have to be cash going from one party, one spouse to the next. That there can be, and this is quoting, payments made to a third party can be considered alimony. Indirect alimony may include cash payments to a third party to satisfy the obligations of a former spouse, such as to provide a residence for a former spouse, for example, rent, mortgage, utilities, etc., medical cost payments, or other such expenses incurred by the payer's former spouse. So those are ways that you can pay spousal support. Instead of just having a money payment for alimony or spousal support, you could pay your spouse's rent. You could pay your spouse's mortgage or a portion thereof. You could pay the mortgage and plus alimony or spousal support, and that can all be considered spousal support. And from reading the publication, the reason you may want other payments being handled as spousal support is, as this publication from the Franchise Tax Board indicates, alimony is tax deductible for the payor spouse, and it has to be taxable event, so they have to include it on their taxes if you're receiving spousal support. So the example in this case is, if you are a spouse saying, "Oh, I didn't know I could pay their rent. Let me pay their rent." If you don't write that up as a spousal support order, then you cannot deduct the amount you're paying for rent. So let me just make sure that's clear. If you decide in your divorce you're going to pay the mortgage, let's say, of your spouse, and it's $2,000 a month, and that's your agreement, you guys sign the judgment, you're done, and you write a check and you pay the mortgage payment every month. That's fine. In fact, you'll probably, you may even want to work out that you get the mortgage, mortgage deduction, the interest deduction on that. But let's say you didn't. If you pay $2,000 a month to a house, that's $24,000 a year. You're not going to be able to deduct that payment if it's not included as spousal support or alimony. So, being that the Franchise Tax Board says you can use or have this described as alimony, if you write it up that way, that $2,000 you're paying can be considered spousal support or alimony, which is the same thing, and you can get that tax deduction when you go to file your taxes. So you can find this information on the Franchise Tax Board website. It was difficult to find. I definitely wanted to get this out on video, and we're going to do several more about spousal support and alimony and some of the tax implications going right off the Franchise Tax Board publications. Tim Blankenship, specializing in California divorce. I hope this was helpful. Feel free to call me for a free consultation. We handle divorce cases all throughout California. 661-281-0266. Thanks for watching.